What if everything you believe about money is wrong? What if the real secret to wealth has nothing to do with working harder, earning more, or getting lucky? I am Doric from PinSense, and today I'm sitting down with someone who discovered that secret. His name is Marcus Sterling. He went from completely broke, I'm talking eating ramen, sleeping on couches broke, to building multiple seven-figure businesses before age 35. Marcus, the question everyone once answered, what changed?
Doric, it's simple. My beliefs changed. And when your beliefs change, everything changes. Most people think wealth is about money. It's not. It's about psychology. Once I understood that, money just followed.
That's the thing that intrigues me. A lot of people work hard, earn decent money, but never become wealthy. What's the difference?
The difference is internal, not external. And I'm going to show you exactly what I mean.
Take us back. Where did you start? What was your money situation like growing up?
My parents were middle class, stable jobs, stable life. But I remember being a kid and hearing conversations about money. We can't afford that. That's too expensive. Rich people are greedy. Those words, they got stuck in my brain. By the time I was 25, I had internalized this belief. Money is dangerous. If I got too much of it, I'd become a bad person. So unconsciously, I sabotaged myself. Every time I made money, I'd spend it. Every opportunity to save, I'd find a reason to spend more.
So you were literally self-sabotaging without knowing it?
Exactly. And here's the crazy part. I didn't realize it was happening. I thought I was just bad with money. I thought I didn't have the discipline. But the truth, my beliefs were running the show. My brain was literally protecting me from becoming a bad person by keeping me poor.
That's dark, man. So when did you realize this?
I hit rock bottom at 27, completely broke, living with a friend, eating once a day to save money, and one day I had this moment of clarity. I realized my beliefs created this situation, which means I can change my beliefs. If I'm responsible for being poor, I'm also responsible for becoming wealthy.
And that's when everything shifted.
Everything. From that moment, I became obsessed with understanding the psychology of wealthy people, how they think, what they believe, what their internal dialogue sounds like, because I realized wealth is 90% psychology, 10% action.
Okay, let's go deeper. What's the core belief that separates someone who builds wealth from someone who doesn't?
There are actually three core beliefs, but the foundation is this. Wealthy people believe they deserve to have money. Not wish they had it, not hope they get it. They actually believe they deserve it. When you truly believe that, not just intellectually, but in your bones, your actions align with that belief.
So it's not about positive thinking or manifestation or any of that.
No, it's deeper. It's about genuine belief. Here's the difference. A broke person might say, I deserve to be rich, but underneath they believe, but people like me don't get rich. There's a contradiction, and your subconscious always wins the contradiction. Your actions reflect what you truly believe, not what you say you believe.
That's the gap between what people say and what they actually believe.
Exactly. And most people never close that gap. So they say, I want to be wealthy, but their actions say, I don't believe I can be. They make $5,000 a month, but they can't figure out how to save $500. They get a bonus, and somehow it's gone in 2 weeks. They're not bad with money. Their belief system is just running them.
So how do you change a belief that deep, that's been in your system since childhood?
You have to become aware of it first. Most people never stop to ask, what do I actually believe about money? They just assume the way they feel is normal. But when you start examining your beliefs, when you ask, where did this come from? Is this even true? You can start to shift it.
Walk me through that process. How do you examine your belief?
It's 3 steps. First, you notice the belief. You catch yourself thinking it or feeling it. Second, you question it. Ask yourself, is this true? Do I have evidence for this? What if the opposite was true? Third, you replace it with a new belief. And then, this is crucial, you reinforce it through your actions. You do things that prove the new belief to yourself.
Let's talk about decisions. When you were building your first business, what was your decision-making process? How is it different from how most people make financial decisions?
Most people make financial decisions based on fear. They see an opportunity, and their first thought is, what if it doesn't work? A wealthy person sees the same opportunity and thinks, what's the upside? It's a completely different psychological framework.
That's fear versus possibility.
Right, and here's what's interesting. Wealthy people aren't fearless. They feel the same fear, but they've trained their brain to evaluate opportunities differently. They ask different questions. They say, what can I learn from this, instead of what if I lose money? It's not about being brave, it's about perspective.
So it's learned?
Completely learned. There's nothing genetic about it. Anyone can train their brain to think this way. The problem is, most people reinforce the fearful thinking by constantly listening to it. Every time you say, I can't afford that investment, you're reinforcing the belief that you can't take risks. Every time you don't try something because you're scared, you're telling your brain you're right to be afraid. But if you flip it, if you start taking small risks, talking about possibilities instead of problems, your brain starts to rewire.
Small risks. That's interesting. You didn't jump straight into millions, right?
Hell no. My first business made $200, then $2,000, then $20,000. But each of those was me proving to my brain, you're capable of this. You can make money. You can handle responsibility. By the time I got to my first six-figure business, I wasn't scared anymore because I had evidence. I had proven it to myself 50 times over.
Here's what I want to understand. Why don't more people do this? If it's just about changing beliefs and taking action, why aren't more people wealthy? Because being safe feels good. Staying in your job, keeping your savings account, not taking risks, that feels safe. And our brains are wired for safety. But here's what people don't realize. Playing it safe has a massive cost. What do you mean?
Let me break it down. If you make $60,000 a year and you save 10% aggressively, you'll have about $600,000 by retirement, if you're lucky. But if you take even a small risk and build a side business that makes an extra $30,000 a year and you invest that, you're looking at millions. The cost of playing it safe is literally millions of dollars.
So it's not actually safer?
It's actually the opposite. Playing it safe leaves you vulnerable. You're dependent on one income source, one layoff, one economic downturn, and you're in crisis. But someone who's built multiple income streams, they're actually safer because they're diversified. But it requires taking risks early when the stakes are low.
So the people who feel the safest are actually the most vulnerable.
Exactly. They just don't realize it until it's too late. And by then, they're 50 years old and they can't take risks because they have responsibilities. But if they'd taken small risks at 25, 30, 35, they'd be set by 50.
That's a sobering perspective.
It is. But here's the good news. It's not too late for anyone listening to this right now. The psychology I'm describing, you can start implementing it today. Right now, in 2026, you can decide, I'm going to think like a wealthy person. I'm going to start taking small risks. I'm going to build beliefs that support my financial growth. And you'd be amazed at what changes in 5 years.
Let's make this practical for 2026. Someone's listening to this right now and they're like, Marcus, I love what you're saying, but I don't know where to start. What's the first step? First step, awareness. Spend a week just noticing your thoughts about money. Don't judge them, just notice. I can't afford this. Rich people are greedy. I'm bad with money. Write them down, because you can't change what you don't acknowledge. That's step one. What's step two? Step two, question them. For each belief, ask, is this true? Do I know anyone who proves this wrong? Usually you do. You know someone who took a risk and it worked out. You know someone who is wealthy and is a good person. Those are proof that your belief is an absolute truth.
And step three?
Step three, replace it. Take one belief and deliberately adopt a new one. I'm bad with money becomes I'm learning to manage money better. Rich people are greedy becomes wealthy people create value and are rewarded for it. And then, and this is crucial, take one action that proves it to yourself. Save $50, start a small side hustle, read a book about investing.
Something small that says to your brain, this new belief is true.
So by the end of 2026, someone could have completely rewired their relationship with money.
Absolutely. Not because of some magical thing, but because they've deliberately changed their beliefs and proven them through action. And that's how wealth is created. It starts here, in your psychology. Everything else is just following the blueprint your mind creates.
Marcus Sterling, thank you. This has been incredible. For everyone watching, this is episode 1 of our Wealth Psychology interview series. More conversations like this coming. If this resonated with you, tell me in the comments what's one belief about money you're ready to change. Marcus and I are reading every comment. Subscribe for the next interview. We're bringing you real conversations with real people who've cracked the code on wealth creation. See you next time.
And remember, wealth isn't about luck, it's about psychology. Change your mind, change your life.